I never imagined I'd see a car sink into someone's yard as though it were devoured by some invisible force. Yet, there I was, cup of coffee in hand, watching as Erica Williamson's monstrous SUV slowly disappeared into the soft soil of my perfectly manicured lawn. Her shrieks echoed through the quiet morning as she scrambled out of the sinking vehicle and stormed toward my house, mud splattering everywhere. What she didn't know was that this entire mess had been set up by me, carefully planned and completely within the law. Life in Pinewood Ridge had once been the definition of peaceful suburbia. When I bought my house 3 years ago, I intended to work from home, enjoy the tranquility, and nurture a lawn so pristine that even the most particular of neighbors would stop to admire it. For a while, that was exactly how it was, a lush emerald green carpet that looked almost too perfect to be real. I had a strict routine: morning watering, afternoon mowing, and an unwavering war against any dandelion that dared show its face. Then Erica moved in 2 doors down, and my peaceful existence quickly spiraled into chaos. Erica was unforgettable, her voice loud enough to break glass, and her SUV's engine loud enough to shake the house. She liked to tell everyone that she wasn't one of those people, which, of course, meant she was even worse. Within a week, she was parking her car on my lawn, claiming she was only there for a quick school pickup or an errand. It wasn't just a little tire mark on the edge of the yard. It was the full weight of her vehicle sinking into the grass, leaving behind huge ruts that scarred my lawn. At first, I tried to be diplomatic. I put up a polite sign asking her to respect the lawn. When she saw it, she laughed. The next time, she knocked it down with her bumper. That was our first real interaction. "Seriously? You're upset about some grass?" she mocked, completely dismissing my concerns. Frustrated, I turned to the homeowners association, thinking they might step in. What I didn't know was that Erica was on the HOA board, and my hopes of any impartial action quickly evaporated. "Let it go," my friends advised. "It's not worth the stress." But it wasn't just about grass. It was about principles. That lawn was a symbol of my time, effort, and care. One rainy afternoon, I watched her SUV charge over the curb once again. Only this time, the soggy ground betrayed her. Her tires spun helplessly as mud sprayed everywhere, ruining what was left of my perfect lawn. She jumped out of the car, heels sinking into the muck, her anger palpable. "You've ruined my car," she screamed, as though I had personally conspired against her. I didn't respond. Instead, I grinned inwardly because I had just come up with the perfect, petty idea, one that was legal, clever, and perfectly satisfying. If she wanted to treat my yard like a parking lot, then I would turn it into the most treacherous, vehicle-swallowing trap she could imagine. I spent the next few weeks designing what I would call the Pinewood Pit. By day, I researched landscaping regulations, city codes, and stormwater management laws. By night, I transformed my lawn into a subtle, hidden trap that would make her SUV think twice about rolling over it again. I installed a shallow trench, cleverly disguised beneath layers of sod, that would swallow any unsuspecting vehicle like a Venus flytrap. Beneath it all, I put in a drainage system to keep the ground constantly soggy, just waiting for the right moment. After weeks of preparation, the trap was ready. All I needed was a good rainstorm to prime it. Sure enough, 2 days of steady rain did the trick. I stood on my porch, coffee in hand, excitement building as I saw Erica's SUV turn the corner. Without hesitation, she drove up onto the curb, straight into the kill zone. There was a brief moment of stillness as her tires cracked through the surface, then the glorious descent as her SUV's front end dropped into the bog. Her scream was music to my ears. The wheels spun, sending mud flying as she tried to escape, but it was no use. She stomped out of the car, cursing, her heels sinking deeper into the swamp. Neighbors slowly appeared, pretending to check the mail or walk their dogs, but we all knew they were there for the show. And then, the best part, the tow truck she called to rescue her also got stuck. It was like a scene out of slapstick comedy, but this was no accident. It was my masterpiece. I wasn't done yet. I dug deeper into the HOA guidelines and found a green initiative clause that I could exploit. With a bit of paperwork, I officially designated my yard as a stormwater biofiltration project. It was all above board, complete with city approval and all the environmental buzzwords: stormwater management, pollinator habitats, and wetland restoration. To complete the look, I added small frog statues, solar lights, and even a few signs to let everyone know my lawn was a wetland in progress. Erica fumed. She complained to anyone who would listen, trying to get my plans shut down, but her influence had waned, and the HOA was on my side now. When she took it upon herself to start adding gravel to the edge of my property without permission, I had it all on tape. The HOA slapped her with a hefty fine for her unauthorized work. Erica didn't give up easily. She filed complaint after complaint, from noise violations to the supposed pollution of my little lights. But each time, I had the documentation and permits to shut her down. Eventually, the HOA voted to ban all vehicles from parking on lawns in the neighborhood. Erica's power was gone, but the best revenge came when I decided to throw Pinewood's first ever swamp soiree to celebrate my victory. Invitations featuring cartoon frogs went out to all the neighbors, inviting them to see the historic site where arrogance had met its match in nature. The turnout was more than I expected, with families bringing picnic chairs, kids splashing around in the swamp, and tiki torches lighting up the biofiltration project I had so carefully cultivated. And of course, Erica couldn't resist. She showed up, sunglasses hiding her scowl, and made her way around the party, clearly uncomfortable. I greeted her with a friendly smile, wearing a shirt that said, "Swamp, but it's hot." "I hope you're enjoying yourself," I said sweetly. Her response was a bitter hiss. "You've made me a laughing stock." "No, Erica," I replied smoothly. "Your tires did that all on their own." She stormed off, almost tripping into another soft patch of mud. Days later, the inevitable happened. For sale signs appeared in her yard. Her departure was quiet, unnoticed by most, but I couldn't help but feel a sense of relief. I left a parting gift on her porch, a ceramic frog and a pair of sunglasses, smiling forever as it surveyed my now thriving wetland. As I stood there, reflecting on the chaos that Erica had brought and the peace that followed, I couldn't help but feel a sense of satisfaction, not just from the petty revenge, but from the reminder that with a bit of patience, creativity, and the right kind of mischief, you can turn even the most frustrating situation into something utterly magnificent. In the end, Pinewood Ridge had returned to its serene roots, but it wasn't just the tranquility I had reclaimed. It was the victory of creativity and patience over arrogance and entitlement. Erica's departure marked the end of one chapter, but my swamp, my masterpiece, would stand as a lasting reminder of how even the smallest acts of defiance can ripple through a community. And as I watched the next car carefully navigate my lawn, I couldn't help but smile. My quiet little corner of the world had been forever changed, and I had done it all on my terms.